The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Faster by, good afternoon. Welcome to Mannin Line on Manx Radio. We're on an open line today, tomorrow in Castletown, live with the students of Castle Rushen High School. But today, the floor's yours. Call 66 13 68. Text or WhatsApp on 166 177. Email studio@manxradio.com. Garth Commissioners wants to hear your views about the Manx Utilities proposal for the sewage treatment at Axonfell Plantation. A week today, the 22nd, there's an open meeting, public meeting at the Working Men's Institute in Laxey, 7 o'clock. And the local authority is organising that meeting before they submit their own view on the planning process. That's a week tonight. 7 o'clock, Working Men's Institute in Laxey, 22nd, Wednesday, 22nd, for your views on the sewage treatment plant at the Axonfell Plantation. Wilf's with us now. Hi, Wilf.
Hi, just a short one, and I think I've sorted out the duck problem at the Garey.
Oh, right, yeah. What is it?
Well, I did a lot of shooting in my younger day, and there were around about 50 ducks, maybe more, at the Garey all the time, like for years now. And ducks go to where they get fed. Somebody must have been feeding them down there. If you fire one shot, you might get one duck, you might get two. But they're all gone. They take off. They ain't coming back. They're not daft. So I don't think I don't think anybody's been shooting there at all. I think there'd be a row if anybody was shooting there. But the ducks have gone. Now, I often go through the Garey, and there was a lot of ducks there.
So who's been feeding them, I wonder?
Well, that's the thing, you see. That's the thing. Somebody has been coming and feeding them, I reckon. And for some reason, maybe somebody's got ill, maybe, I don't know, whatever, and they just stopped. And they'll go away then. They won't come back. So it's only a couple of miles from the Garey to the White Bridge. Now, I've been down the White Bridge as well, had a look down there, and there's ducks. There's ducks down the White Bridge. Normally you go down, there'll be more than 100 all around you. But if you look up the river, there's ducks all the way, and that's straight up to the Garey.
Right.
And I was there the other day, or the other evening, and a family come down and to feed the ducks. And as soon as this car arrived, there was hundreds of ducks around them. And I said probably 200-300, all around, right up to the thing. They're feeding them out of the hand. And they all come down the river. As soon as the ducks seen this going on, they all come down the river,
right,
from the Garey end down to the thing. And I think they're all there because, and I've been down to the White Bridge before. There's all these ducks, but there's certainly a lot more now.
Right. Okay. So it's
and a lovely sight to see. Actually, hundreds of them.
Great. So it's down to food then, Wilf.
That's what it's down to.
Okay.
That's what it's down to, and they're feeding them by hand down there.
All right.
And I reckon there'd be a hell of a row if somebody started shooting the ducks down there.
All right. Well, good to hear from you. Thanks for calling today.
Okay.
Cheers.
All right.
All right, it's 11 minutes past 12, and David's with us now. Hi, David.
Hi, Randy, and hopefully Will's still listening. I'm sure he will be. I was really surprised yesterday when you had two members on from the DOI. And I'd love to come on and just ask them to have a delegated responsibility. I know Hooper does to do something to do with housing, but when you're in government and you're a political member and you join a department, you have a delegation of function that means the member can actually do things. And I was quite surprised that the two of them didn't know what was going on about the buses. Now, you would have thought that when the minister has a department meeting, that each member would contribute to their own section, whether it's Hooper for housing, Jody for buses, what's going on, what's happening, is there anything on the horizon and stuff like that. So I was quite surprised that both of them didn't know what was going on about the buses, and even if Wilf couldn't get on the bus, and she was using the excuse it's the minister's responsibility. Well, directly it is at the end, the minister's total responsibility for what happens in the DOI, but they are members of a department and they have a vote, and they have decisions are made then, or a discussion happens, and then it's the pros and cons of it.
Right. You see, the public won't know, the constituents won't know what role does a political member in a department play. I mean, does the minister call the shots, or do the political members have anything to say or to contribute?
Yeah, no, in my time, and that's about 5 years ago, 6 years ago now, anyway, but it must be still the same, because if you don't have the support of your member, you have members in a department to actually, the minister can't do everything, or a chairman of whatever, whether it's the planning committee or whatever. So, planning is actually different. There's only one political member there, and is Rob Collister. So, and he's doing a good job. I'll come on to that in a minute. But when you have a board meeting, say, of the DOI, once a month it used to be, I'm sure it must be still there, it's a shame we don't get a synopsis of what's discussed. You don't need to know the ins and outs, but the headings would be great to have out. And that's what they used to have in the Council of Ministers. The members used to get headings of what was discussed, so you knew what was actually going on and which sort of lines they were going in, and then you could find out what was going on. But when I was in the DOI, and David Anderson was there, Phil Gorn and whatever, you used to do pink papers, and that was a decision. I was just trying to think of one which was fairly simple, which was down on the promenade near the casino there, where the hairdressers was, the big hairdressers. They were going to have a 20-minute or 30-minute zone they put in there. And I argued, or I didn't argue, but my discussion was, it takes more than that. I'm not being sexist now. For the lady, or even a gentleman sometime, to get the hair cut and trimmed or washed or whatever. So it was made into an hour instead of, say, 30 minutes. It was actually ridiculous on that. And that went through the department, and I got support on that. And it was but there was bigger things like that which would do with the airport, all sorts of things. The boats, the steam packet at the time was different now. But I just wondered, and I'm sure the two members are listening to see how they did, and I was just disappointed, really. They didn't do any, although they're party members there. How much they not explaining to the people that put them in is what goes on a department, and have they got a delegated function, and is that delegated function worth anything or the paper it's written on?
Okay. And
that's what I'm asking.
And there was Rob Callister. Rob Callister, you said.
Great, no problem at all on that. Now, Kell Properties have got the key done. The Newsom site on that. That's a bonus there. I know one member voted against. You're always going to get something on that, but the other side, if I could say, and hopefully Rob's going to listen into this, and is we want the other side done too. As you come down from the Gasworks Hill, you know those massive holes there.
Oh, crikey!
I was at Bobby Saddler's the other day. Come out the top and come back down again, and them giant holes there where it's just full of stagnant, filthy water. What's happening there? And the final thing from me is the DOI. What are they doing about the old tram horse station down there? The scaffolding. I'd love to find out how much we paid for the scaffolding. Like you say, all the material, the blocks are all sitting on the scaffolding to keep the weight on it. I've never seen an inspection notice on it. We used to have a scaff tag in the old days in the construction industry where the scaffolding was checked for safety. health and safety, if anybody, because it's been a long time on there, and stuff doesn't rot because it's probably galvanised or whatever. But things can come adrift, and is it a safe operation anymore?
It will be nice to know what the plan is, David.
Well, don't forget, and we'll make it another day on that next week maybe, it's all the properties that government own on our behalf, who are the people, the taxpayers. What are they doing about them all? Summerland, 2 pubs, all sorts of things. If we don't need them and we want to sell them on, let's get on with the job before the next election.
All right, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. Thanks for that, David. 17 minutes past 12. Well, I don't know whether you've walked or driven past the tram sheds, and the scaffolding's still there. Still there. They've not even. I don't think there's even a net over it, so that at least they can't put a funny face or something on it, or make it coloured. But well, it's still there. Yes, the Fenella Footbridge in Peel Harbour's reopened. Now you can stroll along. You don't have to do the full lap of the course. It's closed for 4 weeks for planned maintenance work there. Some ancillary works continuing on the periphery of the site, but the footbridge is now open. You can stroll along to your heart's content from Peel Prom through to Fenella Beach. Or were you enjoying the full lap all the way around? Have you counted how many camper vans there are there? I counted 14. I think it was last Saturday. 14. More people staying there than in some hotels on the Isle of Man. Here's Danny with us now. Hello, Danny.
How are we, Andy?
Good, yeah. What's on your mind, Danny?
Basically, I want to talk about how terrible the police handled that bull situation yesterday in that field.
Yeah, go on.
Well, how did they not know that there was no people walking from behind? They missed about 3 times. The bull was safe. Why didn't they just, they could have done something else. They were treating it as if it was a terrorist attack to the way they approached the whole situation.
Well, according to because it escaped from the meat plant, didn't it?
Yeah, I know all that.
Which is
but
logical.
I'm saying it was in a field.
Yeah.
It was in a field. It's not doing any harm, is it? It's just chilling in the field.
Well, nobody knew.
It wasn't running at them.
Well, nobody knew what was going to happen, did they?
It's a bull, come on. Like, the way, I think, the way they were screaming, they were approaching it, and they missed about 3 times. There could have been somebody in that forest behind. How did they not know there was someone walking? Did they check that area? Don't think they did.
Well, we can only tell you what they said. They said, let me tell you, the bull became agitated, they said, and the meat plant asked assistance from the police. It would have taken too long for somebody to turn up with a tranquilizer gun, and basically the bull was at Douglas Rugby Club. It had gone through fields and it was there. So, yeah, they shot the bull. That's it. I mean, the thing is, if anything had gone wrong and the bull had gone on the rampage, we'd all be saying, why didn't the police shoot it?
I get that point, and now I get that point, yeah, but what I'm saying is the bull was stationary. They could have stayed there. Armed police were there with the guns. They were going to shoot it anyway, weren't they? So they could have waited till somebody come, a vet could have come, could have paralysed it, but whatever. But no, they just sort of just panicked, bang, 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 and that was it. And then they missed 3 times anyway.
Well, they said they didn't miss. They said all the shots hit it.
It didn't. I see him when it went straight off the back of it.
So it hit it and deflected?
It skimmed off the back, yeah.
Right, okay.
There was some fella lying down on the floor. There was one running up to it. It was terrible. Terrible. I imagine a kid could have seen that. Did he check the perimeter? There was nobody around. There was no public in the area. I think it was just a bit rational. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for calling today. We appreciate your point of view. Thanks for that. That's what happened yesterday. You don't often get a raging bull heading around the Isle of Man, but this bull was shot by firearms officers in the Tromode area. In fact, we talked about it yesterday morning, just before the politicians were on. They thought it was a mickey take. It was true. There was a bull running around and on the rugby field, and it was shot by firearms officers. The police said that they'd been asked for assistance. It had escaped prior to when they got there.
As per what's called the applied professional practice in relation to firearms operations, authorised firearms officers were deployed to negate the threat to the public. They understand the public's upset about an animal having been shot dead, but they say there was no easy way to contain the bull. It had free rein to go everywhere. It was in the middle of the field. It had travelled through an estate and near a school. Can you imagine if that thing had gone into a school? The police were aware there were workers in the area who filmed the incident, and they've obviously got no control over that. Those videos have been going here, there and everywhere. A number of shots were required to kill the bull due to the fact it was huge, and they'd like to tell the public there were no missed shots. The public weren't putting in any unnecessary danger. The police don't have the capability to tranquilise animals, as people had suggested, and utilising a trained professional wasn't a viable option for wider public safety concerns. The meat plant attended to the location quickly and removed the bull, and there we are. It was big news on social media, but that was the story. Let's face it, that could have gone very wrong, couldn't it? I mean, that really could have gone very wrong. But the bull has been put out of its misery and has been dispatched. Here's Julian with us now. Hello, Julian.
Hi, Andy. How you doing?
Very well, thanks.
Good. Yeah, I agree with Danny. Very odd the way that was handled. And did they do a perimeter check? And actually, how did the bull escape? I mean, I'd like to know, how did the bull get out? I mean, that's not really been asked about. And it reminds me of the video that came out from the street in Port St Mary called Craig and Lee, when there was the armed response and you had 3 people that were basically at gunpoint. And I did notice in that video that one of the armed responders was pointing at him with the police colleague behind the guy. So if they're using 5.56 or whatever they're using, it would have gone straight through him at that range, and it would have hit his police comrade at the back of him. So when it comes to checking out how you're using your firearms, it might be, I don't quite know how they're checking the trajectory of these bullets.
Yeah, but I mean, that thing with the bull could have gone very wrong. I mean, we're talking about it now, we're dissecting it because they did the right thing. I mean, if that bull, can you imagine if the bull had gone anywhere, into a school or along the street, or, it had made its way onto Peel Road, or anything could have happened, Julian?
Well, looking at the video, I think it was more interested in that lovely grass than anything else. But anyway, but no. Yesterday's Mannin Line. A bit of friendly advice for Laurie Hooper. As a national politician, when you're live and the camera's on you, arrogant eye-rolling when being asked how you're going to do things like social care to people's houses when you're asking everyone to drop a third of their speed, and comments like everyone's doing 20 mile an hour. Well, I can assure you there are many roads in Douglas where if you're not in the 5 o'clock rush or the 9 o'clock in the morning rush, there's plenty of time when people are able to do 30 miles an hour on many of the roads that are distributor roads in Douglas. But a little bit less of the arrogance, please, Laurie. And he said something interesting. They both did, actually. Joni said that it's going to make Douglas more livable. I'm not sure if having diesels emitting worse because their DPF filters are not going to be too happy with 20 mile an hour everywhere is really going to make things more livable. But Laurie said, this is one of those rare occasions where Tynwald has told the government to do something and opposed to government coming to Tynwald with a plan and saying, can I do it? Having an opinion on it from a DOI perspective doesn't matter. We've been told by Tynwald to do this. Tynwald is in charge. We have to do it. So why didn't that apply to the horse tram rails?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, why isn't Jeff Robinson or More Blessing Paduru in the DOI, at the head of the DOI, questioning any of this? And then, of course, you've got the DOI minister who's sort of run with the ball on this, because also at that sea terminal, even the mover of doing these 20 mile an hour zones never envisaged that you're going to end up with the whole of the Colby Road going 20. And if 20 is the speed that everyone's doing, why is it in the daytime when a tractor's on the road, there's massive queues formed behind it? I don't understand the logic of saying that everyone's doing 20. You stick a tractor along anywhere in Douglas in the middle of the day, I can guarantee you it's going to cause chaos. So I'm not quite sure about this statement that 20 miles an hour is that you can't do more than. There are times when it's very slow, yes, because of congestion, but there's plenty of times within the 24-hour period when 20. I mean, imagine you're going for the boat early in the morning. I mean, it's going to be torture doing 20, isn't it?
Well, it just depends which roads, doesn't it, Julian? I mean, as you say, if the connector roads and the feeder roads, I mean, things like Woodburn Road and Ballynard Road and obviously the Peel Roads, the Old Castletown Road, I mean, you wouldn't expect them to be 20 miles per hour, would you? I mean, certainly on housing estates, that's not going to be that much of a hassle, is it?
Well, that's right. But housing estates, if you look at the map, if you go on the government website and look at the 20 mile an hour map, you've just got a bit of green round the outside of Douglas, and everything in the middle of it, from the promenade literally to the Quarter Bridge, is 20. Everything, including Broadway. So you've got pretty much everywhere is going to be shut down by a third. And when I asked the question, how are people going to get home visits? You know, if an elderly person's waiting for a social care worker to help with difficult things to do, you know, like just even having a shower or anything like that, they're not going to be able to fit it into the same 8-hour stretch, are they? It's just physics. It's like doing the end-to-end and telling everyone to do a third slower than they normally do. And you're not going to get the same.
Nothing's been mentioned about emergency responses either.
Yeah, and if you've got clogging because of all the arterial and distributor roads in Douglas and Onchan and Colby and Port Erin, Kirkmichael, if it's all jam-packed full of cars that are getting stuck, because you know this happens, because it just does when you start. Because distributor roads, they're the ones that handle the most amount of traffic. I mean, you know, if you come off down even the Quarter Bridge Road, I mean, the traffic jam's all the way up to the lights.
It'll be interesting to see what happens on Douglas Promenade, because, I can tell you, first thing on a Sunday morning, sort of 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, nobody does 20 miles per hour on that. I mean, there are lorries going up and down Douglas Promenade at 40 miles an hour. So I don't know how they're going to police it, or whether or not they're going to actually sanction anybody, whether this is the back door to putting speed cameras on Douglas Promenade, because it'll be an easy pinch anytime out of peak hours on Douglas Prom.
Yeah, well, Douglas Prom has basically been made an anti-car area. If you look at the pictures of the Prom before it was redone, it was like a motorway. Yeah. I mean, you know, you could, you know, even with the 2 trams going up and down, it was like a motorway, whereas now with all those impinging kind of diagonal edges that are being shoved out off the pavement, even motorcyclists are finding it difficult to get past, you know, if it's just a crawl at 1 mile an hour and a motorcyclist decides he wants to just tootle past. And Julian, if
only they'd said that right at the very beginning, when it was obviously Mr. Quayle who was in Chief Minister then, and they wanted the promenade done. If only they'd said right at the very beginning, this is a giant traffic calming exercise. If they'd said that, and they didn't say it's a giant traffic calming exercise and we're taking 5 dozen parking spaces away as well, and we're going to drive all those people into car parks in Douglas. But they didn't.
Well, that's right. And, you know, things become revealed later, like Joni and Laurie saying that they're quite happy with on and offshore wind farms, and Laurie saying, well, it's only a small part of the island that won't mind 90 Eiffel Towers within 6 to 8 miles of the coast. I mean, I don't live anywhere near the East Coast, and I'm absolutely against it, because, you know what, I love driving up the East Coast. I love going out, you know, to the Dune or whatever, or if I go to Portyvollen Beach. I mean, Portyvollen Beach is going to have a grandstand view of this. I mean, it's a beautiful area there. You've got Island Landscapes, you've got a lovely little, right down on the ramp there looking out. They're going to have a view completely destroyed. I mean, they're going to have these things. They're going to be the height of the mountain road, 90 of them. I mean, are they mad?
Okay. All right. Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Andy. Cheers.
12:30 now, and let's get to... Robert's on with us now. Hello, Robert.
Hi, how you doing? It was curry and casserole down at the Garey today, but we had a good meal, you know.
Jolly good. What's on your mind, Robert?
I think Julian's a bit vain, to be honest with you, and I've got a conspiracy theory as well. I think Julian and what's the other chap who's on beginning with J?
Robert.
Dewan.
Oh, right.
I think I think they have a conversation in the morning and say, well, let's get together on this and you'll get together on that and we'll do a pincer movement.
What do you want to talk about?
I think they do. Well, I want to talk about housing. And I think that unless you've got a company on the Isle of Man, the government literally won't listen to you. You don't have any respect whatsoever for the Isle of Man people. And I don't think that they're going to get anywhere with housing over the next year. I think Alf Cannon is pretty much, on his own kettle of fish with his giving money to the companies and things like that. I don't think anyone wants to improve the housing situation. And I'm looking forward to the next administration when it gets sorted out. That's what I have to say.
Jolly good. All right. Robert, good to hear from you. Thanks for that.
All right, bye.
28 minutes before 1. I'm glad you said lorries are doing 40 miles an hour in Douglas. In Ramsey, there are lorries again speeding. It's only a matter of time before something goes wrong and there's an accident, says G. There are problems. Let me tell you, if you go on Douglas Promenade out of hours, and I'm talking about very early in the morning, there are lorries tootling along well above 20 miles per hour. My point is, if you're going to have a 20 mile per hour limit, it's only a 20 mile per hour limit if there is a sanction for people who break it on an ongoing basis, and not talking about every now and again a police officer with a radar gun and one down the road. So, you heard them yesterday, you heard the politicians, Joni Farragher and Laurie Hooper, talking about the 20 mile per hour. And also they said that it could just take a motion within Tynwald, a process within Tynwald, to make that an all-island speed limit. Once the 20 mile per hour limit comes in, it could, with the metaphorical tick of a pen, suddenly be extrapolated right across the Isle of Man. Any thoughts? Text, email, call, WhatsApp. Lots of people got opinions about the bull and also feeding the ducks. Who's feeding the ducks at Whitebridge? Regarding the horse tram building, the amount being paid for the scaffolding could have paid for the repairs on the property itself, says Colin. We don't quite know. Nowadays, I don't think... Do you still rent scaffolding on a weekly basis or a daily basis, or you just pay for the lot now? I know there was a bit of a scaffolding war about 10 years ago, wasn't there? Can I ask, if something's not fit for purpose, should we pay for it? If not, why are we in Ramsey paying road tax? Our roads in and around Ramsey are a disgrace, says Garey. From the old Grand Island site through to the hospital, everything needs resurfacing. I have to question how the bull escaped from the meat plant. Crikey, this is going to be a film in the end. I've been in the meat plant and I know the safety measures in place. So very bad practice, says 489. We don't know, do we? We don't know what happened. We just know that the bull was dispatched, shall we say. Can't believe how many animal experts have suddenly appeared. Lessons can be learned from this. If they're looking for accountability, look to where it escaped from, says Karen. We'll find out from the future. We'll see what happens. The police did exactly the right thing with the bull. Well done, says Garey. The rampaging bull was apparently close to a primary school. Where's the primary school? On Braddon Road, isn't it? There's a primary school on Braddon Road. The animal wasn't a bull, it was a bullock. This is going to go on forever, isn't it? They simply had to keep it back with a watching brief until it settled. Then they could have got a clean headshot. Crikey. Not the mess they made. The animal escaped due to there being no operational security on the gate at the meat plant. We don't know, see. We don't know. This is all conjecture. It's all skeet at the moment. But no doubt the truth will come out. But I mean, the truth is... nobody was hurt. Well, apart from the bull, obviously. But nobody was hurt. Why can't the police... Oh, God, not another one. Why can't the police carry tranquilizer shots? Well. Any thoughts on this? You've heard of Roger Tomlinson. Have you heard of Roger Tomlinson? one of the driving forces behind the Positive Action Group. Sadly, Roger has died. The Positive Action Group staged many meetings, usually at the Manx Legion Club in Douglas, giving their audience the chance to discuss topics of the day. Political groups were welcome to give their view. Roger Tomlinson is no longer with us. An activist, possibly some might say an agitator, but some words that he had to say a few years ago, talking to Catherine Nicholl, ring quite true. The late Roger Tomlinson.
We're hoping to give them a platform to speak to the public and to fully explain what they're about, because generally this is all done on social media, and we feel that politics is about live events, and that's why we hold regular live events all through the year.
Now, you mentioned the Manx Labour Party is celebrating 100 years this year. It's certainly proven that political parties in the Isle of Man can have longevity. Do you see that happening with any of the other parties that are around at the moment?
I certainly do. Liberal Vannin, I think, has proved itself, because it was only started in 2006 by Peter Carron, who subsequently retired, but it had, I think, 3 members elected that year, 2 the following election, and I think 3 in the last election. So there is a caucus of Liberal Vannin support within the island, and certainly I think that will continue. And as you say, the Manx Labour Party is celebrating 100 years. Now, that is a real celebration. So when you imply that there's no room for political parties, how come that the Manx Labour Party has lasted so long? Now, that remains with the Green Party, because that has certainly gained credibility in the UK and also in the wider European sphere. So why should it not gain credibility and further support here in the Isle of Man? So yes, I think that there is room for political parties on the Isle of Man, and long may it continue.
What do you think about the late Roger Tomlinson? What he had to say about the fact that politics is best discussed in public meetings, when real people talk to other real people rather than on social media? The late Roger Tomlinson, one of the driving forces behind the Positive Action Group. Mike's on now. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Andy. First of all, you were talking about the 20 mile an hour speed limit.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't hear yesterday's show. I went to the presentation in Peel. And in Peel, it is a blanket 20 mile an hour speed limit they're proposing. From where it starts now, at 30 mile an hour, the whole of Peel, including the 4 arterial roads,
right,
are going to be 20 mile an hour.
So that will start, just before you get to QE2 school?
On that road, yes. Yeah. It will start before you get to Barbary West Coast on the Portown Road.
Yeah.
It will start just before the roundabout on the Coast Road, the old Barcroft factory.
Yeah.
And I can't remember where I start down by the mill, coming in on from the south on the coast.
Right, okay.
Glenfaber Mill, I think. I can't remember. No, the 20 mile an hour, I think, starts at the old home, folks' home, I think, the 20 mile an hour.
So is this going to function properly as far as you're concerned, Mike?
No, because I'm going to get to that. There's also going to be 40 mile an hour buffer zones on all 4 of those arterial roads. There's already the one on the Portown Road, which is a clear road. You complete, and very, very few people do 40 mile an hour. There's no reason for it at all, other than it's slowing the traffic before they get to Peel. But there's a roundabout as soon as you get there, so you've got to be slow. But they're going to put these buffer roads as speed limits. The one on Peel Road is going to start just before the cemetery on the way in. I can't remember where the other 2 roads are going to start. So you're going to have traffic slowed down from quite a way in. Now, one of my vehicles, I ride a lot, is a 1000cc sports bike. And at 30 mile an hour, I've got to be in second gear, and I can just about pull then, because at 3,000 revs, which is I'm doing about 3,200 revs at 30 mile an hour, at 3,000 is where they set the drive-by testing, the ECU set for emission testing. Now, if I drive at 3,000 revs, it hunts, jerks backwards and forwards. On a bike with lots of torque, if you just touch the throttle, you're away. You hit a pothole, and your wrist either opens or closes. So you've got to be very mindful of that.
Yeah.
Now, to do 20 mile an hour, and I've tried it, it's right on this rough patch. So I'm going to be jerking, if you like. Now, I live down in Mill Road in Peel, so I've got to come all the way through. And it's really difficult to do. Now, it's hard to stay at 1340s. I mentioned to you on past about a bad accident when I used to live in Swindon years ago. So I try and keep to the 30s and 40s. To go past Peel School, when the 20 mile an hour lights, I've got to be doing just under 25 to ride smoothly in second gear. So, in first gear. And I know that there's loads of cars, mostly driven by mothers at that time in the morning, and buses doing over 30 mile an hour in the 30 mile an hour zones. So it's a ridiculous thing. It's just people making names for themselves. It's an easy thing to get public attention. I know there are places where people have to go slow. And Michelle Hayward actually said to me, well, what do you do about the parts that are all... I said, I avoid them as much as possible. And some of the roads that are actually 30 mile an hour, Boyley Spittle, can't do 30 mile an hour down there. And so I very, very rarely ride down that road because it's almost impossible for me to ride safely. And all that jerking is also, they've got to take into account, that is damaging the engine because it's putting strain on the big end bearings.
Do you think, Mike, there's implicit in this, then, that the people who are behind this 20 mile per hour limit basically have got a downer on people with large motorbikes and are in effect saying, forget the big bike, get a 250?
No. I explained to Michelle Hayward, and I'll give her a credit. She was listening. She was arguing her point, obviously, and it came in. She was in the minister there. Obviously, she's pushing it through. And she did say majority of Tynwald are for it because it's an easy thing to get your name. And a lot of people are actually for the 20 mile an hour limit, so it's an easy vote winner.
But Mike, I mean, everybody's for this because they say, well, it's for safety, and nobody's against safety. Nobody has a policy that says we need more danger on the roads. As you say, they're saying this is more safe. Well, how is it more safety if they can't police stuff, if people are going to break the limit and they can't sanction them? So I don't quite see how that works.
Well, there's a couple of things there to say. One thing I didn't quite say was my little 350 is also very difficult, which answers your 250 answer. And I don't think it's against motorbikes. It's motorists.
It's motorists in general.
I think so, because most modern vehicles aren't designed to drive for long distances at that speed.
Okay. And you wanted to bring up insurance as well, didn't you, Mike?
Yes. The man on the news this morning was saying about the insurance is getting better. As I said, I live in Mill Road in Peel, and my insurance, I'm self-employed, little one-man band. My insurance has gone up quite considerably in the last 3 years, year on, year on. I went to go and get some other claims, other quotes, and I went to the NFU, and he didn't ask for my address until we'd gone all through it, and he was going to, they could do this, they can do that. Yeah, no problem with welding, which is what I do. They're not worried about that. They insure other people who weld. And then when he asked me postcode, you're in a red area, and he showed me on the map. They've done a survey of the whole island, and if you're in a red area, which is a flood risk, right, they're not offering any insurance business at all, regardless of what insurance you want, if you live in that red area.
Right, and is your current insurer willing to reinsure at the end of the term?
I believe so. Last year, it was quite a big jump last year. And I did start looking around. I didn't finish going to one of the brokers. I'm with the same broker at the moment. I'm waiting. The insurance is due to renew next month.
Okay.
To see exactly how much it is, but it's a big lump. I have a small one. It's a big chunk every month.
Okay. All right.
That I've got to find just to cover the public liability.
All right, Mike. We appreciate your call today. Thanks for being with us.
Okay.
Take care now. 13 minutes to 1.
Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
Isle of Man Breast Care was founded by breast cancer survivors in 1997 to support patients and their families emotionally, practically and financially. We work closely with the breast unit at Nobles. If you or someone you know needs support, contact Sharon on 482 662 or find us at iombreastcare.co.uk.
This advert is brought to you by Kell Properties.
You've worked hard all morning in IT, doing computery things, or in retail, assisting ungrateful customers, or doing whatever it is you lovely people do. But now, it's lunchtime, and you, my friend, deserve something special. From Smash and Fry. Take your lunch to a new level with our delicious pizzas, fried chicken, smash burgers and milkshakes. Lunchtime is your time. Visit Smash and Fry, Duke Street, Douglas. You deserve it.
Not ready to say goodbye to summer sunshine? Book a direct winter sun holiday with flights to Tenerife departing Ronaldsway from November to February. Book flights from only £499 per person return or a complete holiday package and look forward to a relaxing break. No stress, no stops, just more time to enjoy the sun and unwind. Visit flydirect.co.uk to book now with a low deposit.
It's the perfect time to plant spring bulbs and winter pansies. And there's a wide range available at Ramsey Garden Centre, plus a full range of garden essentials for indoor and out, including battery lights. Visit Ramsey Garden Centre, open 7 days a week.
Artificial intelligence, it's steadily becoming an everyday part of our lives. But is it a great tool to make our lives easier, or is it slowly killing our creativity and originality? I'm Amy Griffiths, and on Island Life tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at some of the unintended impacts AI could be having on particularly our creative industries here on the Isle of Man. That's tomorrow at 5:30 here on Manx Radio.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Southern Andy on 580 said, how many firearms experts exist on the Isle of Man? Perhaps the residents should leave it to the experts and not criticise excellent firearms officers. Fortunately, Russ Foster, Chief Constable, has armed response active 24/7, so a potentially very dangerous incident was under control very quickly, says at Southern Andy, that is. The only people voting for 20 miles per hour are those who don't have a job and have all the time in the world to get wherever they want to go, says this correspondent. We often pop down to the White Bridge for a walk, and almost every time there's somebody feeding the ducks. Must be about 100 or more at any time. Says 715. Dewan, that is. The police didn't have the time to do a health and safety check before they act. They do. They're trained to, and that's it. It's better to be around afterwards and regret it than not to be around to do so. Says that police are just using the school as an excuse. Says this correspondent, 049. The animal stood its natural grounds absolutely fine. Well, we can only say that because nothing went wrong, did it? Why are there no speed cameras on the Isle of Man, says 500. I think there are some mobile ones, but not fixed ones. So what do we do with this 20 mile per hour limit? I mean, what's going to happen? Dewan's with us now. Hi, Dewan.
Hey, Andy, I believe we had Constable Jim Bowen on the firearms unit there, did we? Got a bullseye.
Thank you. Yes, very good.
Yes. Super smashing. I was just saying to Julian at breakfast this morning, we should go around and have an omelette with Robert and at Garey. Yeah, absolutely. Funny. Just listening to. I just actually started listening to Laurie Hooper and Joni Farragut from yesterday's show. And I think I've made that point before about party politics. I'm not a great lover of party politics. I think the Labour Party itself has shot itself in the foot drastically very recently anyway in England. And I know the Manx one doesn't associate itself with it, they say, but I mean, it's still got the same morals, I would imagine. But I do feel that we do need some kind of party to get us through the state that we're in at the moment, or the changes that possibly this government are trying to force on the island people. Whether it be a full registered party, I don't know, but we do need to be rowing the boat in the same direction, and not in the direction of DEIs, ESGs and the green agenda.
Everything's about money, Juan. Everything is about money. The fact is, we're arguing about all sorts of things, and it all comes back to money. State of the promenade, we're talking about Manx care, we're talking about adult social care, everything, things like that, housing, everything comes back to money, Juan. Bluntly, there's not as much money around the Isle of Man as there used to be.
Andy, that's always been my point, hasn't it? Is following the money trail on different things, and joining that together with the green issue. That's going to cost us money that we probably haven't got in the bank now. It's very expensive. And going on to, I think, what Paul Quine said the other day about having the referendum about that. I think Paul would have been a good politician, sadly lost very early to us last time round. Probably one of the few people who'd have to take a pay drop to go and do the job. So I quite fancy Paul Quine if he was standing again to do the job. And on the situation with the bull yesterday, again I have to agree with other people that's been on there. Was the circumstances needed? Everyone's going on about the armed police again at the moment, and again it was a show of arms at the government conference again, I believe this year, when the firearms officers walked through with sidearms on. So there seems to be a publicity image going around this armed police thing at the moment, and again I'm wondering whether, as it said there, I'd seen the video of the bull that was in the field, so it was doing no harm at that present time, and it was contained. The officers could have stood by and waited for the thing to be put to sleep properly. But my point the other week, I think 5 shots were put into that to drop it, and I make my point again. The first person that's going to pull a gun and shoot a person on the island. I'm looking at the responses and comments on Mannin Line on the internet now about this. What's it going to be like when they pull a gun on a person? So I don't know. Okay. I'll leave it at that, Andy, and we'll speak again some other time.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for that. Nothing green about wind farms, says 854. 400 to 900 cubic yards of concrete for the foundation for just one of them. Not to mention the oil used to winterize it and the diesel in the crane and the truck to move and put the thing up, says 854. Well, they probably argue that it's greener than most things. So... scaffolding is subject to over-hire charges, says 505. Is it illegal to feed the ducks? No, it isn't. So why all the fuss? Well, it's because they disappeared from the Garey. They've disappeared. It just seems they've schlepped down the road and they're at the White Bridge, hoovering up all the bread.
When the Mannin Line's not on air, call Manx Radio to leave your opinion for broadcast on 682 631.
Are you a small charity here on the Isle of Man? Are you looking for volunteers, hoping to raise awareness and chasing those crucial pounds and pennies to support your work? Well, Manx Radio can help. You could be our next 1 to 3 Charity of the Week. With daily on-air coverage, podcast and social media promotion, we can help support you and those you help. Just email the numbers 123@manxradio.com and listen out for the feature each weekday between 1 and 3 p.m. The Charity of the Week, brought to you by Kell Properties.
The Mannin Line with Andy Wint.
Well, it's 4 minutes before 1. Either regards the proposed 20 mile per hour speed limits, all fine with it, but the government will need to delay the road closures for the TT. The reduction of speed will slow the travel time down, and equally the road closure time should be put back 20 minutes to ensure road safety. Anything other than this will cause issues for residents trying to get home and cause accidents with people rushing. Do you think they've thought of this? Thanks also to Eric, who said, all these people talking about why have the police shot the bull. What did you expect them to do? Get a crossbow or something? Or a big catapult? They're not. The police aren't trained in shooting bulls. I'm sorry, it's not a matter for levity, but you don't really expect that on the Isle of Man. Big news in the TT. Talking to the TT, have you noticed that Ian Lougher's confirmed he's no longer competitively racing? 42 years on the mountain course. He first took to the course in 1983, a newcomer in the Manx Grand Prix. He was third behind Robert Dunlop and Steve Hislop. So we wish Ian Lougher 136 starts, 103 finishes, 10 TT victories, 29 podiums. No more Ian Lougher. And as well as the Axon Fell meeting, World Mental Health Day on the 25th of October. Nip along to the Windsor Coffee House, Saturday 25th of October from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. and meet the team from the Samaritans. That's it. Thanks to Chris on the phones today. Back tomorrow live at Castle Rushen High School.
WINT.